This shit been my past since I passed through the womb. I don't need a map, you get lost in the room. Puppet then I pass, moving past out of school. I become a rat when you notice what to do. I took a loss, but I'm ready.
Flames.
Where are you now?
Shit, man, I'm in my bedroom. I was actually going to do this outside. I have a backyard, but it's about to rain.
You live in Brooklyn. You got a backyard.
Yeah, man. I live deep, though. I've got a fat backyard, but I'm deep.
That's fire.
Where were you in Harlem, by the way?
143rd and Broadway.
Oh,
I literally have a song called 143rd and Broadway about it. Yeah, that was 143rd. Yeah, it was fucking loud as hell.
All right. Ready to go?
Let's do it, bro.
Of course. I'm also a huge fan. Records have all been really dope, man. Obviously, Nights has kind of gone viral in an interesting way. Can you talk a little bit about that record and what happened on TikTok?
Yeah. So like one day, like I just like started getting a bunch of notifications on SoundCloud, people liking Nights. And I was like, this is like random as shit. So I started doing some research and like some kid commented on my YouTube was like, it's the Jacuzzi nut kid. I was like, what? So I went to TikTok and there's like basically this kid bought a jacuzzi for your nuts. You can dip of it. And then my song was playing in the background, but that shit went viral and everyone in the comments was like, what's the song? What's the song? Yeah, like that shit ended up getting like 2.9 million views on TikTok. I appreciate that kid, whoever you are.
Question is, are you going to get the ball washer sponsorship?
Yeah,
that's coming in the future.
I've been talking about with my team. We don't know if it's a good move, but yeah, we've reached out. Yeah.
That's fire. So, I mean, dude, since I've known you, obviously you're from San Antonio, you have a huge Texas kind of influence. We went to college together in upstate. Right now you're in LA. I know you were in Harlem for a while. Can you talk about some of those different areas where you've lived and some of the influences they've had on your music?
Shout out to 607.
Always.
210. That's where I'm from. Yeah, like, you know, I grew up listening to all types of music. So, like, I found my love for hip hop when I was like, you know, in middle school. But like, you know, as I grow as an artist, I also have been moving around. I started rapping in high school when I lived in Texas, middle school. And then like I got better as a hip hop artist and when I moved to New York. And maybe it's because I was also like, you know, getting better, but you know, I take in everything from where I am. And now I'm in LA and like a lot of the influence from the music here and the culture here and the culture I had in New York City, the pace of the culture as well. Like that kind of also like influences how I create my sound. Like a lot of my stuff when I was in New York was like a little bit faster and like a little bit more like lyrical, kind of focused on that stuff. And now I feel like I'm hitting a stride out here in LA. Like it's becoming easier. It's my environment really that inspires me as I move along in my life.
One thing I noticed, especially on the last project, Quinny Season, which if our followers haven't checked it out, go absolutely check that out. The project's fire. It sounds so professional and like really thought out, but there's no specific like regional sound to it. It kind of just, it's this really bright, interesting piece of music. So, I mean, what were some of the influences creating that? What was that process like?
That's my first pretty serious EP. The process of making that project was me going when I was living in right after college. I started going back and forth to Philly and started working with my boy Matty Free, who's a dope producer. He executive produced the whole project, and also another dope producer and engineer, Heaven in Stereo. And I'm still working with both of those guys, but they are two people that really helped me build who I am as an artist. I didn't have people around me before who had been doing music for a while to like teach me like the basics and shit. Those guys really helped influence how I was making the project and like even like the messages within the music. And yeah, like this living in New York really kind of created Quinny Season. Like that was all 3 years ago. That was music from like 2.5, 3 years ago that I had to drop later because of some, you know, business stuff. So it was great. It was great to drop. It was just, you know, I'm happy it's out. And it was a dope learning experience for sure.
It seems like you work with a really close team when it comes to creative, when it comes to production, because it's a really cohesive sound, really cohesive videos. The visuals are all incredible. So, I mean, like, what's that process been kind of building that team? Because it's definitely your vision, and I love that about all the projects.
It's really kind of crazy. It's kind of like the first people I really met to do this seriously. Like Maddie and Ben are people that I met like right when I started doing this, and like they're people that I've continued to trust, and they continue to trust me. So like I don't let go of that shit because if it keeps working, like if it's not broke, why fix it? Or you know what the fuck that saying is. If it's not broke, you don't need to fix it or whatever. So
1,000%.
Yeah, so like I got them, and then like as I moved out here, I got OK Coop as well, who like has become like a close homie of mine, and also like we've been working on a lot of music, and he's super fire. He's from San Antonio originally. We met out here in LA. I got my creative team as well in terms of like videos. I got Meanwhile LA, which is a dope company I met out here. My guy JT Clemente, who's like a director. And yeah, it's just I keep him close because we're hitting the nail on the head every time. And I like quality over quantity when I'm working with people. And if they're down with my ideas, then I'm with it.
Totally. That's one thing I see in a lot of the work. And let me ask, I mean, with the Florida video, the woman actress in that, I mean, she gained a little bit of infamy, right? Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about that experience and like working with
Yeah,
her?
shout out Kayla Lauren, beautiful model. She shot the video with me last summer for Florida, and she was super dope. And then I think October came around, baseball playoffs. Yeah, and she was part of a crew that flashed, I think, was it at Astros game, I think?
Yeah, I think game 5.
Game 5, yeah. So she went viral for that, and yeah, she's good people, very professional, very beautiful.
That's fire. The video is amazing. Definitely
Yeah,
go check that
she's
shit
great
out.
in the video too. She is.
Well, I mean, talking about people you're working with and some of the amazing stuff you've done. I mean, I've always known you. You've done your solo stuff, but you've also done stuff with close friend Magic, who is an incredible rapper as well. I mean, talk a little bit about the difference between your shit and your guys' stuff together, what that experience was like meeting him.
We met when we were in high school. We were both interns at a radio station, and I had been rapping like at night on my computer to like YouTube to like Lemonade by Gucci Mane. Like I would just like, rap over it, and I was like mad scared. Didn't tell anybody at school. Ended up interning at this radio station. Magic comes in, telling everyone he's a rapper, and just puts in his shit in front of everybody. Like just puts in his CD, and it's fucking hard. And I'm like, fuck, he's fire. So I had to prove myself. We got hotboxed in the truck one day at lunch, and like I started freestyling, and he was like, oh shit. And then like we started making music together, and that was the start of our friendship and our partnership, like in terms of making music. And we have a couple tapes together, and he really was there like with me like during like the grassroots start shit of like when I was really building like my confidence as an artist. And he's still making music, and we're still working on music together. We have a project we're working on called The Gray Area. I don't know when it's going to come out, but we have songs to it, and it's heat.
Well, people definitely look out for that. Look out for him, Magic the Soul Child. Super fucking fire. So talking a little bit about some of the older stuff, I mean, you had a record that kind of blew up early when I knew you in college. It was like a record everyone played at every party. Talk a little bit about The Plug and what that was kind of like, blowing up, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, college student, blowing up on SoundCloud.
Sure. Yeah, like, music throughout high school and college kind of was not like, it was just 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And making The Plug was dope in terms of like, it was a time early in my career so far where it was like, damn, that was a sign that like I had 1 foot out, but that was a sign that I should put 2 foot in. It did really well on SoundCloud. People liked it, and it was very natural. Like that shit was like literally about a lake house I go to all the time that one of my best friends from Texas owns, and like I've been going there forever. So like it was very natural, and like that was kind of a dope sign to me to like continue to pursue this shit.
Whipping a boat at the motherfucking lake house.
Back.
Always. Why don't you talk a little bit about the Pusha T cosign and that relationship there? Because I think that's something people are super aware of and interested in.
That was also another sign to me that I was like, damn, I should keep doing this. But yeah, like I made a music video with my boy Mike Holland. Shout out Mike. And this guy Malik the Dope Drummer. He's like pretty famous on Instagram and in general. He decided to do a cameo in it, and he posted a clip from that music video on his Instagram. He posted a couple days later, Pusha T hits him up, and he's like, who is this kid from this music video, which was me. And he ended up hit me up, and I linked up with him in New York. He was like, I want to meet you. I want to listen to more of your music. We linked up in New York. I played him some of my stuff. He was like, this is fire. Great mentor, and just like a good dude to like talk to about where I wanted to be in my career and all that stuff. There was going to be some business, but it didn't end up working out. It didn't line up with what I was trying to do. with my vision of my career and where I want to go. But there was no bad blood, and Push is a great dude, and he's one of the dopest artists out to me.
I mean, since I've known you, you've always been like an insane Kid Cudi fan, and you've always kind of had an eclectic taste in music, and I think that reflects a lot of the music you make. I mean, what are some of your favorite influences? What's Kid Cudi mean to you?
I mean, Kid Cudi was the reason I really kind of felt comfortable with sharing my music and sharing my emotions. Because when I was growing up, kind of the hip hop was like 50 Cent and like, you know, not really super emotional stuff, you know, pretty rugged. Yeah. You know, I love that type of stuff, but me as an artist, I try to show, you know, who I am and what I feel and think through my music. So Kid Cudi was the person who was able to make that okay in hip hop. And I think he started a trend. I think he made it okay for people to say if they were happy or sad or whatever they wanted to talk about. So Kid Cudi, one of the main guys for sure. Lil Wayne, also huge for me. He continues to come out with crazy bars. And I'm just like, bro, you fucking crazy. Like, it's crazy. He's huge. Thug's huge in terms of like how he creates his sound and like new wave stuff. I'm still listening to new stuff. Like, I still haven't gotten to that age where I'm like only okay with the old shit. Like, new shit's cool. So yeah, Lil Wayne, Thug, Kid Cudi, Mac Miller, huge influence. Rest in peace. I actually got a painting of him up on my wall right now. Let me show you.
Damn, that's beautiful, man. And is that right over where you record?
Yeah. This is my that's my little stew.
Damn, you got the setup, my guy.
Yeah, so so he's also huge for me. Like, he changed the bounds of also hip hop, I feel like, as well. And he elevated his sound every time. And that's what I want to do. He like kind of changed up his shit every time, staying true to who he was. And it was like, yeah, through and through, good music.
And I mean, talking about elevating your sound and elevating your music, I mean, this new record you're putting out, Talking, is super fire. And it's a little different for you. Tell me a little bit about the experience making that record, some of the stuff you've done. I mean, there's a live performance that will be coming out that's super fire as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Shout out OK Coop. Shout out Kyle and Max, 3 guys who produced on it. That was one of those records that we made in one session. We had the idea for what we wanted it to sound like. I knew that it was going to be about like some relationship type stuff. We did it in a day, and a lot of times that doesn't happen. It came super natural, and it does have a little bit of a poppy flow to it, but it's still real like hip hop in terms of like what I'm saying. It was a blast to make that record. To do the live session was dope. Shout out JT Clemente, dope director like on my team. He makes a lot of dope shit. Totally. And yeah, that was a blast. This record is like something I'm really excited about. Just came out last week. It's different for me, but I think people are gonna fuck with it.
Hell yeah, I think so too. Talk about, I mean, what fans can expect, what's coming up next, what's this record leading up to?
For right now, I have just been dropping music every month. So I'm going to continue to drop music probably every month till I drop my project. It's going to be my second EP. And I think it's going to be at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Till then, I'm just I have all these records that I'm been working on or are done and are ready. And I got videos. So it's going to be content for the next, 6 months, continuously to continue to build up this base, to be honest.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, we're excited for all the new records. We're excited for everything you're doing because shit's really dope, man. And I think everyone that's watching is too.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank
you
for
man.
the opportunity.
Of course.
This shit been my past since I passed through the womb.